sheet about the monetization of the Water Supply Board, it says that you would want to enter into a long-term lease of the asset with a qualified, experienced partner. And I want to know how you will vet these bids that have come in, because the company that was mentioned, one of them, Veolia, I did some research on that, and I just want to read, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania brought them in also as a cost-saving measure, and here are some employees from their water supply board. This woman, Tonya Payne, a former employee and safety manager, described the Water Authority as firing or pushing out key employees and experts after Veolia came on board. When they first came in, they immediately fired the head of engineering and the head of finances. I knew we were in trouble then. By the end of 2015, 23 of the workers had been laid off or fired, including safety and water quality managers and half of the laboratory staff responsible for water testing. Is this the kind of thing that we're going to see? I can't imagine that these other corporations that would want to come here, they would want to make money for their stockholders. How are they going to make money? Where's the money going to come from?
Great. So just to take that, I assume just like some of those other transactions probably did not have rate caps in them, those ones also probably did not have labor provisions in them as well. If you actually look at, so the city did request information as we were exploring this option, which was referenced earlier. If you actually look at the front page of that, not that, I don't know that anyone has it in front of them, I think the woman over there does. We did go over what our main tenets are and values are in this transaction, and covered in that is rate stability, long-term rate stability, stable labor and workforce, water quality, maintenance, and enhancement, and then ability to actually continue to make the capital investments that need to be made so that the water is of good quality. So if you actually look at that, we tried to lay that out very clearly, because again, that's what we would be looking for as we proceed in this process. If you don't mind,
I can speak directly to the Pittsburgh example. I was just at a conference with some of the folks from a nonprofit who work on water advocacy, and they had no oversight from the PUC in Pennsylvania. If it's a utility run by a municipality, the PUC does not oversee the rates for the labor agreements and those things. And when they did their partnership, they were still under the kind of guise of the city, and so they were free to do anything they wanted, essentially, without that regulatory oversight, and that is very, very, very different from our situation and what we are considering.
Sure, so if you don't mind, there's a few questions, and if it's okay, I'll get to you. I just want to make sure we get through some of the written ones as well. So one of them is related to how we would score different potential applicants if we did go to a request for qualifications or RFP process. So just to be clear, we've just done a request for information, so that's not the same as a request for bids, essentially. So the responses we've got back have just been kind of outlining people's qualifications to do this. We may choose to do nothing with that, or based upon feedback, we may choose to do something with it. So that at this point is an open question. In terms of how we would score it, I want to note we do have very clear rubrics. They are public record when we do score bids, and part of this would again be governed by what state law we pass, which again is going to have rate caps, is going to have protections for quality, going to have protections for labor. Obviously, our rating locally has to match that. So again, we're going to reinforce all those things and how we would score any type of application that would come to the city. That being said, we're not even close to that point. In fact, we're very far from that point. So I don't want to foreshadow exactly what that might look like, because we're still very much in the beginning of this process. And the last thing that just I see this, when does the town of Scituate become a part of the plan discussion? So that's a fair point, and I do know that we have some residents of Scituate here this evening. And a few things. First, we have been in discussions through Providence Water with the council in Scituate, specific to right now the arrangement between Providence Water and the town of Scituate. As you probably know, Providence Water does pay a pilot, so payment in lieu of taxes, to the town of Scituate for hosting that facility. Those agreements normally, I think, are 3 to 4 year agreements and they have to be renewed and negotiated. So that is one way in which we are engaging in that process. And again, we're at the beginning, and before we go, ahead, we wanted to have a discussion with Providence residents within the city, and I'm glad to see some Scituate town members here as well. And we're happy if there's a particular way that you'd like us to come and present and engage, we'd be happy to have a separate meeting in Scituate. I would leave it to you to tell me what's the best way for us to do that.